It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talks Flicks podcast. I'm your host, the Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. I welcome the podcast where me, the Captain, talks about movies, TV, sports, flicks, anything you can see on the two-word screen. I like to get on here and give you my unique perspective, because after 47 years of being on planet Earth, I've developed a unique perspective about these movies, TV, sports, and flicks, and I'd like to get on and tell you about it. Because just maybe you care. And according to the stats, it looks like you do care. I want to give a big shout out to Argentina. Got some plays over in Argentina this past week. Gracias, gratitude, todo raba. In Argentina, I heard about that pizza you guys got over there that is topped with baked chickpeas. So pizza with baked chickpeas as a topping sounds absolutely magnificent. So one of these days, I have to fly down to Argentina and have some of that pizza. So thanks for listening, guys. Gratitude. And just FYI, back in the day I went to school to be a radio DJ, but never got a job. I think I never got a job because I just didn't have the discipline. If I would have had the discipline, then maybe that would enable me to become a radio DJ. But it didn't, and it allowed me to become the greatest podcaster in the Matrix. Something to debate, might be true, might not be true, but I said it on the internet, so it's gotta be true, right? Because everything on the internet is facts, not facts, true, false propaganda, fake news, the Matrix, shoes, socks, shorts, t-shirt, hat. I don't know. I didn't make the internet. Ask the people that made the internet. So when you're online, just beware, just watch out. Anyways, I could ramble all day, but it won't. Let's get ready to podcast. But first, a word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes I rap. And a while back, I rapped again. I dropped the song called Iron Sharpens Iron. You may have heard of that phrase before. Well, I was influenced by the phrase and I made a track based on that. And it's me rapping my unique rap style over spacey, synthy beats. So if you want to hear the Captain rap the only way the Captain can over spacey, synthy beats, check out the song Iron Sharpens Iron. I'll put the link below. Check it out. Now, let's get on with the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back again. And last night, I only got about 3 hours sleep. And I'll be completely honest with you. I've been feeling great up to this point, feeling all right. But cognitively right now, I feel I may just be off a step. Doing this podcast is requiring more effort than the norm because I lack in sleep. And when you lack in sleep, it makes it just a little harder to perform. Now, this is not a whine. It's not a complaint. I'm not whining. I'm just saying this is a fact. This is what's going down. So the Captain is not as sharp as he normally is. Now, one thing though. If you can perform on 3 hours of sleep magnificently or pretty well, then when things are good, it'll be easy, right? So right now, while I may be slipping slightly, I'm still doing what I gotta do. And to be honest, it's not that difficult, but I do feel slightly off. But you might not even be able to tell off the finished product. We'll see how it goes. But sometimes on the path of life, you will only get 3 hours of sleep. When you try to accomplish things and get things done and do things, sometimes there's only 3 hours of sleep. Sometimes there's 2 hours of sleep. Sometimes there's no sleep. The path is like that sometimes. Just power through it, push through it. So anyways, yes, 3 hours of sleep. Doesn't matter. Here I am to podcast again. And this week, I'm going to visit the world of the world's second oldest profession. Spy vs. Spy, cloak and dagger. You know what I'm talking about. You know I love espionage. Over at Paramount Plus, there's a new show that dropped called Special Ops Lioness, an espionage thriller. And that is what I'm going to talk about this week. But before I get into that, a couple things. First of all, there will be spoilers. And second of all, I do own some shares in the parent company of Paramount Plus. I just want to be clear and transparent to let you know. Now that I told you that, let's get into Special Ops Lioness. Ladies and gentlemen, in this show, we find a CIA team attempting to penetrate terrorist organizations over in the Middle East. A tale you've seen many times. I mean, we've seen a lot of those tales in the Middle East of them trying to go undercover in terrorist organizations. I've seen a lot of shows and movies like that because I like these shows and movies. This is basically one of those type of shows, which I haven't seen in a while. It's been a while since I've visited the Middle East in the espionage genre. I've been watching a lot of other espionage stuff that are not quite in that region. So it's nice to go back to the Middle East, revisit that space. I'll brush up on my Arabic, you know what I mean? I'll work on my Arabic a little bit because we're going back to the Middle East. So I got a chance to watch the first 2 episodes, Sacrificial Soldiers and The Beating. And in the first episode, they basically show how they recruit the person who's chosen to attempt to penetrate and engage with this terrorist, right? So, she goes through training, she's off the streets, she comes from a bad relationship with a man, she used to be a stripper, she joins the Marines, and then she's just a very high performer, very skilled woman. She's performing better than the men, so she rises up the ranks as well. And in the first episode, we see, I think her name's Jo, get to recruit the lady, and then they kind of have her meet up with the mark. And the mark is, I think, the daughter or niece or something of the terrorist they're trying to get access to. So in the world of spying, sometimes you may not have direct access to that person. So let's say for you, example, let's say I'm trying to get at you, bro. I'm trying to get at you somehow, right? But I can't get at you because you're very isolated or whatever. I just can't get at you, right? So since I can't get at you, I'm going to get at someone that does have access to you. And that's what they're doing in the show. They can't access the terrorist dude because he's too well guarded and shielded, right? But they can access someone that has access to them. And a lot of times in the espionage world, in fiction and in real life, this is what is done, right? You gotta get it to you from somebody else, some other access. Kind of like with the computers too, right? With like hacking. Sometimes you can't get to a certain company, but you can access the vendor that has access to the company, right? It's all crazy and it's all spies, it's all complicated things, but this is how they do it in the show. I can't access them, can't access you, so they get someone that has access to you, we access them. It's how it works. Espionage, it's great. It's very interesting to see. So anyways, that's what they're doing. So the character, I can't remember her name right now. I think it's Cruz. She was chosen to meet up with the daughter. And in the episode, she just randomly bumps into her and they start up a conversation. And next thing you know, they're hanging out like crazy. Now, I found that very interesting because if you just randomly bump into me, I'm not be hanging out with you like that. But maybe that's because I watch a lot of spy shows. I don't know. But I'm sure there's some people out there that do that. So in the show, like I said, the lady Cruz, she bumps into her, they become friends, they just hanging out. And that's like in the first episode. The first episode is kind of laying the groundwork. And one additional thing about the first episode, what I saw in the first episode is that Zoe's character, which I think is Jo, has a family. She's got kids, she's got a husband. And when they show the family unit, it's not working that well. It's a little rocky. And that kind of links back to what I say in these podcasts all the time. I say this all the time about these shows and books I read, that when anyone who's in the espionage field, who works in that world, having family is difficult. And this show already, right at first episode, is showing it's a little complicated. Having kids, having a husband, having a wife. When you work in that world, you're flying all over the place, leaving, coming, going. It just makes it a little more complicated. This is not Leave It to Beaver, Wally Cleaver, bro. It's way more complicated. And you get to see that in this show. I'm assuming as the show progresses, we'll see more of how hard it is or difficult it can be to balance family with the great game, right? So yeah, so that just kind of adds to my theory, what I've been building over years. It'd be very complicated to do that, or at least more challenging, and the show was showing that. And that's the first episode. Now, second episode, The Beating, right? The Beating, oh, that was very tough to watch. Very tough. Before I go any further, it's very graphic. There was a lot of beating. There was a lot of enhanced interrogation going on. If you've read anything about that, you know what I'm talking about. But enhanced interrogation is what they use to get information from people they've captured. And they're trying to extract information, and various methods are used to extract the information. And let me tell you something, guys out there. You do not want to be enhanced interrogated. I'm going to tell you right from the jump. If you ever find yourself in that position, just tell them everything you want to know right off the jump. Otherwise, you go through a lot of discomfort. Very heavy discomfort. And you get to see this in the show. If you ever wondered what enhanced interrogation looked like, watch the second episode of Special Ops Lioness. Because from what I've read and what I've studied over the years, this kind of does show what I've heard. And it does not look very pleasant. Not at all. It looked very unpleasant. So, yeah. So, like, if you ever find yourself in a position, Tell them everything. Otherwise, you're going through a lot of discomfort, like crazy discomfort. But in the show, the CIA lady is trying to find the breaking point of Cruz. So yeah, so she does that. And like I said, the enhanced interrogation, it's a bit brutal, right? And so what I want to do with this episode is I want to get into a couple things. Like, as you walk through life, there will be moments when there's lots of pressure and stress, where it's just so overwhelming and you will maybe somewhat be broken, right? And it happens to everybody. I went through it like a few years back. Extreme amounts of pressure, extreme amounts of stress, to the brink of just exhaustion, right? And I felt that. I felt defeated. I felt like I took an L. I felt like a loss. And it happens to everybody at some point in time. The question is, how do you bounce back and get back up from that? Because I feel that probably every human being goes through it at some point in time. There's some kind of breaking point or a time period where you just feel extreme amounts of pressure and stress. I mean, most people. Maybe there's some that don't feel that, but then the level will be different for different people. But some kind of challenge that's just so overwhelming. I'm sure we all feel that at some point in time. And then, the thing is, once you do, how much you fall, once you fail, once you break, how you bouncing back from that. That's what I have learned from that. And I bounced back quite a bit. I do feel a little more durable than before, honestly. But what I went through is nowhere near even close to what is depicted on the screen in the episode The Beating. So I highly recommend you go see these episodes and you watch it. You know what I'm talking about. But this is, like I said, Cruz in The Beating, she went through an immense amount of struggle. And real quick, before I sign off, is one other thing I want to talk about as well. There's also a line in the show, I think it's the second episode, where I think Zoe Zandela, Joe, was talking to Cruz. And she's like, there's always someone bigger. There's always someone stronger. There's always someone more powerful, right? I mean, there's always going to be someone badder, stronger, smarter, faster, younger. Whatever adjective description, there's always going to be that. You may think you're a bad dude. You may think you're a strong dude. You may think you're a rich dude, or you're this, or whatever label you want to think. You're the top dog, right? Or whatever. But there's always someone better. And that's a lesson that I became aware of over the years as well. Always, right? So I don't even compare myself to other people or none of that. I just try to be the best version of myself and do the best I can in the things I do. Because there's always someone better, stronger, faster, quicker. No matter who you are, I don't care how bad a mother effer you are. There's always someone better, bro. And there's always someone willing to go harder than you're gonna go. Somewhere on planet Earth, someplace, guaranteed. Right? So you can walk around thinking you the baddest mother effer on Earth, but there's always someone a little bit stronger, faster, wiser, smarter, whatever. Right? So hearing that in there is something I learned over the years too. So knowing that, I just moved differently than thinking I was a bad dude. Now, one additional thing. When I was in my 20s, probably one of the weakest versions of myself, I really thought I was a bad dude, honestly. And I was far from it. My mentality, someone believed that. I don't know why. I'm not sure why that was. And now it's probably one of the weakest versions I've ever been. And I felt that. I felt I was all smart, all knowing, all powerful, unstoppable, all that. Yeah, I felt that. I remember that. And not really being aware of, like, bro, there's a million people out there way better than you. Not being aware of that. Now I am a stronger version of myself. I know I've came a long way, and I know I have a certain amount of abilities, talents, and skills. But that being said, I know there's people out there that are definitely better than what I'm doing. And the thing is, don't concern yourself about it. Just don't have a big head thinking you're the baddest person on earth, because it's not true. There's always someone better, stronger, faster. And that was a lesson that was in the show, along with the lesson that you will break, that I picked up along the way. Now, I've read so many books. I've watched so many videos, documentaries about espionage, military, interrogation. I mean, you name it. I'm really fascinated by those subjects, that I've picked these lessons up along the way. And it's interesting to see this TV show kind of reflects a lot of the lessons I picked up along the way about those themes and ideas. And it should be interesting to see where this goes as it progresses. The war on terror is not a nice, clean business. If you've read anything about it or studied in any way, it's just not. Right? Generally, war in general is not clean at all. But if you compare traditional war to more of the war on terror, the asymmetrical war, it's just a lot more uglier. It's just a lot more. It's just a lot uglier than traditional war. And I'm not diminishing war in any way whatsoever. It's ugly too. But the war, from what I've seen and read and studied, it just seems like the war on terror is immensely uglier. And maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just the things I've been reading and been exposed to. Maybe it's not true. But from what I've studied over the years, it just seems that way. So we're 2 episodes in, and I'll be honest with you. Seeing Cruz enhanced interrogated, I was a little kind of disgusted slightly. I felt bad for her, like, man. But one additional thing before I sign off, I do know that, Navy SEALs and elite operators do go through like SEER training, survival, evade. I can't remember the other 2 letters, but it's basically to how to survive difficult situations. And I've not seen that depicted on TV. I'm not exactly sure, but I've read a little bit about it. And that's complex and it's hard as well. So my hat goes off to a lot of those elite military operators who have to go through extreme amounts of stress and pressure and training and complex, difficult situations. I'm out here living my cushy life doing podcasts, right? My cushy life from that warm house and nice, comfortable bed, right? I have an immense amount of appreciation for them people out there doing that work, so I'm sitting safe in my bed. I've said this a couple times on the podcast, right? Yeah, my life is difficult at times, but nowhere as near difficult as what these guys are doing. So I have much respect, salute, hats off, all that to you guys doing that out there. I'm fascinated by the world, but I know it's a very tough, difficult world to live in and operate in, and I have an immense amount of respect for you guys doing that. So it should be interesting to see where this show goes. I haven't seen one like this for a while, like I said, so I'm liking it already. Now, real quick, I did keep a few reviews on there that were kind of hating, right? But in this day and age, in 2023, you can't put any TV show or movie on the air without somebody complaining about it. There's always be complaints and whines about it. And I don't really care. I like the show. I'm digging it. I like the actors in it. I like the storyline. I like espionage, bro. I love it. I can always find something good about every espionage tale I watch. So anyways, I'm digging Special Ops Lioness. It is dope. If you like the espionage genre, I have a feeling you will like this. So check it out. It's currently over at Paramount Plus. Dope show. And this concludes the podcast. So until next time, we'll see. I wouldn't say anything is impossible. I think that everything is possible as long as you put your mind to it and put the work and time into it. Michael Phelps. Until next time, it's Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks Flicks.